Brendan, Jose Mourinho says you've been in touch with him. What have you had to say?
No, I just congratulated Jose. As I said, he's a friend of mine, and they got a good victory last weekend. So it was important. Obviously, we were disappointed with the result, but obviously I had analysed the game, watched it twice, and offered congratulations to a friend because, as I said, they defended very well. They got the points, and we move on.
With that in mind, Monday Night Football highlighted a checklist that Chelsea could have had. Play direct so as not to risk the counter-attack, disrupt the play, slow the pace of the game. If Palace are to follow something similar, do you have to come up with something different?
Well, I think that's the nature, that's the job for me this week, is to help the players find the solutions in those types of games. I think what we've shown over the course of the season is that we can play in many different ways. You know, our possession, our counter-attack, our ability to score goals has been there. So I analysed the game last week, and I thought there was lots of parts of our game was very good. The speed of our game was excellent. We just need to find other solutions in the final third. If a team comes or we travel to a team and they play with 6 along that back line and 3 midfield players, it's up to us to find the solution, and that's my job. It's my job as a coach to work with the players, and that's something that we've looked at this week. We've analysed where we can be better, because that's how I've always worked with the team and with players. The crime's not losing the game. It's looking and finding the solutions the next time, and that's something that we've worked hard and the players have responded brilliantly this week.
While there are some things that are out of your hands, do you still feel that there is another twist, another turn in this title race?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's, this week really has also been a week to put everything into perspective, really. I think for us, as we sit here, we're 2 points clear with 2 games to go. It's a wonderful position that we're in. As you say, Manchester City have got a really, really tough game against Everton, and I've read some bits and pieces on Everton not wanting to do Liverpool a favour. And listen, make no mistake, Everton in their own right are a great club. They've done it really, really well this year, in particular at home. And they're fighting also for a Champions League position. So they will be looking themselves, they've got outstanding players going into the game, that they can get a result. For us, we will do what we've always done and concentrate on the next game. And if we go on and win our 2 games to finish, which will be tough games, we'll just see where it takes us, and that'll be our aim.
How reassuring was it this week as well to Luis Suarez, as the PFA Player of the Year, ruling out the chance of him wanting to leave in the summer, and how does that impact on what you want to do in the summer as well?
Well, firstly, it was congratulations to him. It was, I think, a year, as we see, is a long time in football, but it was an award that was really special for him because it came from his peers, really. Been outstanding in all of my time here, and obviously in particular this season. So it was very well deserved, and I know he really respected it coming from the players in this country. So I know he's happy. And for us going forward, a sense of the future is that we know we have to strengthen our squad. We're in Champions League next year, which will be great. But we want to be in every competition and challenging on all fronts. And that clearly means that we have to strengthen the depth of our squad, no doubt. So, but to know that he's happy is important, like it is with all our players, because, as I said, it's very important that we have players here that are content, happy, and focused on Liverpool.
And have you had to pick up your captain this week?
No, not at all. Stevie was like us all. We all hurt, and again, it was that sense of perspective. Obviously, it was a big game. He played really, really well. It was just unfortunate that he made the slip, and and Demba went through and finished really well. But Stephen's a guy that has picked himself up over many years after disappointments, and he will do it again. A real good man. And I think probably it was a wee bit overanalyzed as well. The guy slipped. Bless him, he slipped over, which could have happened to anyone, unfortunately. It led to the goal, and that was probably a big factor in the game. However, it happens, and we move on.
Tony Pulis, Manager of the Month, the form team along with yourself. Is it possible to describe the sort of job that he's done since he's gone in at Palace, and is he a potential candidate maybe for manager of the season as well?
Well, he's done an outstanding job, Tony, make no mistake about that. And I know firsthand, because having come up with the team, being promoted from the Championship, I know how difficult the job is when you do come up. Of course, two different playing styles in terms of what we had at Swansea and what he's done with Palace, but the job is the same. You got to stay in the league, however that is. And I think he's done an outstanding job there. Really galvanised the team. I watched them recently at Everton, and they defend it very, very well. They get players on the counter attack with speed that can hurt you, and punch him, Balassi and Cameron John. And he's really, as I said, got a real spirit there amongst them. So. Done an outstanding job, and as I said, looking to keep them in the league, which he's done. Has been a great effort.
5:30 Saturday afternoon. Will you be sitting down in front of a telly watching the Everton City game?
I probably will. I'm not one of these ones that says I'll be on a golf course, and I won't. I love football, and I watch every type of game in every country. So I'm sure I'll be watching it somewhere.
You'll be wearing blue, though, will you? Dark blue, Everton blue.
But listen, Everton have their own reasons to do their own job. They won't need many more supporters than the supporters that they have. So, as I said, everyone will be looking at the game, and I'm sure, as I said, Everton will go and play extremely well and probably look to get the result that they want.
And just finally for me, we saw Daniel come off the bench in the last game. Is he ready to start for this one, do you think?
We'll see over the next 48 hours. He clearly, as you've probably seen, wasn't. He hadn't trained since he got injured in the previous game, so it was a bit much. He'd worked really hard to get back, and we needed something on the bench that could maybe support us and help us in the game. And unfortunately, as I said, it wasn't to be. But he's certainly in a much better place. He's worked tirelessly this week with the medical team. He rejoins the group, and we'll see how he is come Monday.
And talking of solutions, Brendan, that you're looking for, you spoke about Tony Pulis, the job he's done, but a Tony Pulis team away from home, that in itself presents a real tough test, doesn't it? Every
team in this league, it is a very tough game, home or away. I've been in this division now a few seasons and watched it over many years. It's a very, very tough league, and they've had some really good results at home. And like they've done, as I said, I've seen them at Everton, and they played very well. They'll defend deep. They'll play in a real low block. Back four will be tight. Two wingers will be dropped back in to make a six. Midfield three will be dropped in, making it tight. As I said, they'll look to break on the counter attack and to stop us playing. So that will be a difficult game. We know that, but that's our job, to find that creativity and to stay patient and hopefully make the breakthrough and get the 3 points.
And when you put everything into perspective and you look at strengthening the squad next season, the amount of money that you've spent on your team compared to the likes of Chelsea and Manchester City, it must give you a real element of satisfaction to be in the position that you're in right now.
Well, I take great pride in when I've met a lot of Liverpool supporters this week, saying about the pride that they've found in their club again. And that gives me more satisfaction. I think everyone knows the numbers, in terms of money spent and whatnot, and where those teams should be. But for us, the most pleasing factor for myself is that the ideas and the methods that we've been implementing over the period of time since we've come in here have worked. And we now know that it's a continuation of that, how we can improve those. Strengthen the squad, as you say, and as I said, continue to grow and cultivate what we've been doing here. So, and that gives us great satisfaction. We're trying to build something here that is sustainable over a number of years, and so far it's gone well.
Hello.
Hello.
You said you won't be wearing Everton blue tomorrow, but it is an odd weekend, isn't it, when Liverpool's fortunes rest so heavily on what Everton are doing. Do you think there will be a lot of Liverpool fans secretly perhaps cheering them on tomorrow?
I don't think it is. I think most people will look at us, because we still have to do our job. Of course, you know, the Everton Manchester City game is a tough game for both teams. Obviously, Manchester City going there for the last numbers of years have found it difficult. So I think they know as well as anyone it'll be a difficult game. For us, the focus is on ourselves, because it's, you know, we can't rely on anyone. We have to do our own job, and our job is to get 3 points at Crystal Palace. I think, as I say, anything other than that isn't worth worrying about, to be honest.
The truth is, though, I mean, you could do with them doing you a big favour tomorrow, couldn't you?
The truth is exactly what I said, is that I will focus on Liverpool and Liverpool only. It might not make good TV for me to say that, but the focus is only on Liverpool, to be honest.
Brennan, how pleased have you been with the away record this season, because this is your last away game of the season, and by definition I suppose the fact that you're challenging for the title means you must have had a good away record, because you need both home and away, but particularly the amount of games you've won away from Anfield this season must please you.
Yeah, I think it demonstrates the character in our team. You know, the courage that the players have shown to go away from home and continue with their ideas. They've had to show that resilience. As I said, every game at this level is very tough. And of course, as you say, we've, especially since the turn of the year, we've really, as I said, got to grips with our methods and been tough to play against. So, as I said, we hope to continue that. You know, continue our run of away wins, and as I said, we will. That'll be the focus.
Is the mindset always exactly the same, whether you're home or away?
You have to respect the every opponent you play and look at their strengths and the areas of which you can maybe exploit that. You can't go out and just play with total freedom. You know, certainly each game brings its different problems, and you've got to find the solutions in order to win. So for us, we'll always look to create and dominate the ball and control the ball. I've read over time that our methods have supposedly changed, and we are now a counter-attacking team, which is totally wrong. I think we scored 9 goals out of 96 through counter-attack. And we just have a way of winning games, and whatever it takes, that's what we look to do. And we know that Crystal Palace are a very strong team, you know, well organised, and they'll be super compact in the game. There won't be a lot of spaces. They've got great support. The supporters get behind them. They're already staying in the division for next season, so and they obviously enjoy playing against the big opponents. So for us, it's respecting that, but bringing our game into it and really focusing on our qualities and the huge threat that we have in the game.
Brendan, you say obviously you look back at last week's game. How easy is it for you to critically analyse sort of your performance and your tactics in that game? Because it came under a bit of criticism in the fact that people said you ran out of ideas.
No, we probably, listen, you're always going to get that. It's something that I've had since I was a young coach. You know, when you try to play and work the ball and pass the ball, you're always going to be criticised. I think it's clear that our methods this season have worked. What we did do, we ran out of patience in the game. And that's something that we know going forward, that for the remainder of this season and looking forward, you know, we go into the games next season, into Champions League, we're going to have more games like that. And that's something that we will look to improve on. But it's also something I must stress that as a coach, I believe is one of my strengths. You know, I learn fairly quickly, and the great thing about my players is that they're also great learners. You know, they're honest enough to reflect that on the game, that, you know, even though we played well on a lot of the game, that last 20 minutes, we just, as I said, probably our patience ran out. So, but that's natural. You play against top players, a team that's in the Champions League semi-final, you know, with huge experience, and players that are mobile and athletic and they can cover the ground, then, as I said, that's something that I deem as natural. So we're certainly not perfect. I've always said that. We've a long way to go, and this will help us in our development going forward. That game last week.
Is that patience and composure in the last 20 minutes probably the best lesson the players could have learned from that? Because the first time really had been blunted like that all season.
Yeah, I think we games like that last season that ended up, you know, maybe ended up being a draw. I think the game, we totally controlled the game with the ball, and our transition was very good without the ball. You know, I think what we did, 73% of the possession, but for us the focus is really on the dangerous possession. That's what we always look at, and probably in that final third we didn't have enough, and that's something that we'll work on. We had some chances early on in the game that would have changed the outlook of the game, because it would have meant the opponent had to come out and open up the space a bit, but it wasn't to be, and the last goal that we conceded is irrelevant really, and if anyone's to blame, that was my fault, because I put the two centre halves up to see if we could get something from the game, and I'd rather risk that than and try and get something back from the game and lose 2-0, which we done. So, but no, a good week to analyse, and hopefully we'll improve.
Yes, hello, Norwegian TV.
Hi.
The Norwegian manager, Mr. Per Høgmo, says that he admires you and the Liverpool style of playing right now. What is your comment on that?
Well, it's very nice. It's obviously very well received. I think, you know, I'd been, as I said, we've had a lot of comments this week in terms of how we play. I think it's been one of the beauties of Liverpool this season. The success has come in a way which is attuned to the Liverpool way. We aim to play winning football, but also it's to play in a style that is synonymous with this football club. So for us, it's important to win, but win in the way that we want. So the methods, as I said, are working well.
What is your message to the thousands of Liverpool supporters in Norway now in front of the two last games of the season?
Well, hopefully they continue with the planes coming over here. I know they come over here in their thousands, and obviously the many supporters back in Norway. It's a huge privilege for me to manage this great club, and I know all the various countries throughout the world that have the supporters, and obviously Norway I recognise as one of the great supporters of Liverpool. So I always thank them for their passion and support, and hopefully we can finish the season well for them.
Are you coming back this year? You were in Oslo last time. Are you coming back?
We'll see.
Thanks, guys.